Hey everyone, this is Phil with Perpetual Growth Group, and I wanted to talk in this video about what I call basically a principle of fear versus faith. And the reason that these two go together is because they're kind of diametrically opposed. So the things that keep us, and I'm not talking about fear like someone breaks into your house and you're scared, and so you do what you need to do to take care of business or whatever. Either you run, you call the cops, you handle it yourself, okay? What I'm talking about is what fears we have that keep us from pursuing the things in our life that we want. Basically, for most of us, pursuing our dreams, okay? And so the reason that this is important is that most people have a fear that holds them back, and that might be fear of poverty, that might be fear of death, it could be fear of anything, fear of public speaking, fear of what people will think. Some of us have like a subconscious block where we have this fear that if we're successful, maybe our parents will think that we're bad people because maybe they said, well, rich people are crooks our whole lives. So we implanted that in our brain. And so even though we know intellectually that we want to be rich and that we wouldn't do it in a dishonest way, right? There's some subconscious block because of something that we grew up hearing our whole lives, right? Or that, rich people are dishonest, whatever it is. And so we get this fear, and that holds us back. It keeps us from taking action and moving forward. And so the principle that I always like to talk about is faith, because it's the opposite, okay? So when I first went out on my own business, I'd been working in the heating and air industry for a long time, okay? And so I had a lot of fears about starting my own business, starting an online business, starting anything on my own because of, what happens if it doesn't pan out? What happens if I lose everything that I've built, right? So there was like a fear of poverty there. And what I finally had to come to realize is that, yeah, you're going to take a risk, right? There's a risk there involved, but with every reward, there is a risk. And so you can decide not to take the risk, and which is actually kind of a lie, and I'll get to that in a second. Or you can take the risk for the reward and have faith that if you do something that's been proven to work, right, that you will have success in the end. If you live principles of success, you will have success. If you're committed to success, you'll have success. But there's a risk there because all of a sudden we see that there's no floor to how far we can fall if we fail, right? And ultimately, we don't really fail until we give up. But we have this fear that everything's going to fall apart, or whatever the fear is. And so the lie is that we don't already have risk in our lives, right? So when I was in the heating and air industry, there was any day I could have gotten hurt. In fact, I had injuries happen to me, small ones, nothing too serious. But we had one of the guys fell off a windowsill. It's a long story. I don't even want to get into it, and hurt himself for a long time, and he'll probably never be the same, right? So doing that, thinking that he had the security because he wasn't running his own company, he was just working for someone else. Well, he injured himself, went without pay for a long time. He got workman's comp, but what's that going to cover? Not very much. It's not really moving you ahead. If anything, you're just falling further behind. And so there's always risk with everything that we do. And so ultimately what I finally came down to for me is I'm risking something either way. So I might as well go after what I want and take that risk and at least fail trying to get, a better life for myself, for my family, and doing what I want to do, which for me is freeing up my time and having a lifestyle where no one tells me what to do because it's my own business. And also having free time because it only takes me, a few hours per week to run my business online, right? So I can go places, I have money to do things, and I have the time. Because before I had the money, I just didn't have the time. And so there was a risk either way. And I just thought, okay, well, I'd rather risk losing it all over trying to get what I want. And so that's what I did. And so moving forward with faith and letting the fear go, I mean, most people won't do that. But if you can learn to manage it put the fear out of the way and still move forward. And it's not like it's not like I don't have fears. It's not like people who are successful don't have fears. They just learn to manage that. They learn to move forward in spite of it. And so anyway, you can look that up. There's a lot of authors and speakers who have talked about fear and faith and the principle there, but it's very important, I think, to acknowledge that in your own mind. It was a huge breakthrough for me to realize the difference and to learn to move forward with faith. Anyway, subscribe to my channel, please. And also there's a link to my website if you want to see how I make money online with the laptop lifestyle business. And there's a link here, perpetualgrowthgroup.com. Thanks for watching.